Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Just wanted to do a quick video here about some sort of conflict in terms of what actually went on with the Kenobi series behind the scenes. If you haven't checked them out, I have reviewed every episode of that show. Huge issues with this show. Even the young Leia actress was like, what are we doing here with some of the stuff from the mouth of babes, right? So this is an interesting article here from Bounding Into Comics, and the heading is, after Ewan McGregor claimed Obi-Wan Kenobi series was supposed to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke, which would have kept it proper in terms of canon and continuity. It had nothing to do with Vader or Leia. Director Deborah Chow now says Kenobi rescuing Leia was developed before she joined the show. So this is kind of implying that there's a conflict here between Ewan McGregor's claim that it was supposed to be Kenobi and Luke, and that she came in and changed that. Interesting. Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi director Deborah Chow recently claimed that the main plot of Disney Plus series featuring Kenobi rescuing a kidnapped Leia had already been developed at Lucasfilm before she boarded the show. Okay, so is there a claim that she's the one who made that decision then, and she's now denying that, or what's going on here? Speaking with the Hollywood Reporter's Brian Davids about the Star Wars series, Chow was asked, the greatest example of there being more to Obi-Wan's story is the involvement of 10-year-old Leia Organa. How did this big swing happen? Chow responded, before I came onto the project, it was something that they had already developed, and there was a lot of discussion about it, and we didn't know how the fan base would react, and if they'd say we were breaking canon. We didn't know if they'd say, well, so you were discussing whether or not you were breaking canon. Of course you knew you were breaking canon. We didn't know how the fan base would react and if they'd say we were breaking canon. So you knew you were breaking canon and you just didn't know if fans would notice. Basically is what she's saying. It's tricky because on some level everything could be perceived as breaking canon. No, everything could not be perceived as breaking canon. If Obi-Wan Kenobi was there and protecting Luke and wasn't making a big deal about himself and wasn't fighting Inquisitors, it wouldn't have broken canon. What are you talking about? So right then and there, she's so full of it. But you have to take some swings. You have to take some swings at breaking canon? What? It's tricky because on some level, everything could be perceived as breaking canon. But you have to take some swings. What? No, everything wouldn't be perceived as breaking canon. You just knew you were breaking it. We didn't know if the fan base would react and if they'd say we were breaking canon. No, so you knew you were, and you just did anyway. So we did obviously take some license, but we tried to hook it back into A New Hope to at least connect the two. There was no connection needed. They were already connected. Obi-Wan fought him on Mustafar and fought him again in A New Hope. This show shouldn't have been made. I mean, we all knew what Obi-Wan was doing. He was just there making sure Luke was okay. We didn't need this show. That's the problem, is that it never should have been made. And then these idiots, we got to do all this stuff to make it exciting. Even though it breaks canon, we're going to do it anyway. Interestingly, Ewan McGregor revealed at Fan Expo Boston last August that Lucasfilm's original idea for the series was going to be a story about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke. He elaborated, it was always going to be that. And that was one of the genius moments where everyone went, wait a minute, and then changed it. Exactly. So first of all, this show shouldn't have been made, but if it was going to be made, it should have always been about Luke and Obi-Wan. You could have had a bit of a show, with him and Lars having conflict and stuff, but in reality, it didn't even need to be made. It was just a money grab. And the amount it cost to make and then how cheap it looked. I mean, was it just a money laundering situation? Like, what was going on? The Obi-Wan Kenobi series was mired in production hell after it was officially confirmed by Kathleen Kennedy. In that initial announcement, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy stated, "We are really close. We have all the scripts written. We are ready to start shooting next year. We could not be more excited. Can't wait to start production." Kennedy stated as part of the post, "We really wanted to select a director who is able to explore both the quiet determination and rich mystique of Obi-Wan in a way that folds seamlessly into the Star Wars saga. Based on her phenomenal work developing our characters in The Mandalorian, I'm absolutely confident Deborah is the right director to tell the story." That folds seamlessly, even though it creates massive problems and isn't seamless at all. However, about 5 months after the announcement, it was reported that the cast and crew for the series were sent home. Collider reported the Obi-Wan series has been put on hold as the crew had assembled at Pinewood Studios was sent home. Collider's initial report was then corroborated by the Hollywood Reporter. However, the outlet added that the scripts for the series were not actually written, and Lucasfilm planned to rewrite the entire series. Way to go. They're just winging it, man. Like, can you imagine taking a Star Wars IP, right? Like, they bought this thing, and it was so huge, and then you just wing it. They wung it with the sequels, we know that, right? JJ admitted they didn't have a plan. How do you just wing it with Star Wars? Like, that is the most insane. And now they're winging it with Lord of the Rings, right, as well. Like, you're just winging it with IPs that were basically just, like, guaranteed massive amounts of money and popularity, and you're just winging it? Like, what is these people doing? So Kathleen Kennedy approved the show, and then they just wung it after that. They didn't actually, like, why is she approving a show that isn't completely, totally, like, ready to be shot and everything is ironed out? And that's on her, man, straight up. Like, I mean, she was good at the logistics for Spielberg and Lucas and other things that she was involved with. But she has been just terrible since she's become president of Lucasfilm. Like, it's like she just doesn't care. Just wing it. Just, yeah, we're going to do a show. We have no idea what it's going to be. We're going to change it, but we're doing it. THR claims sources tell THR the scripts, only 2 were written, and story became an issue, and that the entire package has been jettisoned. Way to go. Lucasfilm is now on the hunt for a new writer to pen the series. What that tells me is that she didn't like what was written, right? So she didn't like that Obi-Wan was just taking care of Luke. She needed something else. She needed more, whatever she needed. And whether that was Reva or whether that was having young Leia, whatever, she wanted something more, and they had to hire a new writer to pen the series. At the same time, sources say the project is being reconfigured from 6 episodes to 4. Obi-Wan Kenobi would eventually remain a 6-episode miniseries. Interestingly, the THR report also noted the reason the script needed to be rewritten was because it was believed to be too similar to The Mandalorian, with Obi-Wan taking a young Luke Skywalker and possibly a young Leia under his wing in a fashion similar to how Din Djarin took Grogu under his ward. No, but that's the story, though. Like, the story is Obi-Wan protecting Luke. So you can't say, well, we wrote something else that involved a kid and a guy that had nothing to do with the movies, but now because we did that, we have to make it so that Obi-Wan can have his normal character arc that was already written by George Lucas. Like, that's, you know, see what I mean? These people have no idea what they're doing. They're just winging it, baby. Like, if they had had a plan, right? Let me go back. If they had had a plan, then they wouldn't have written Mandalorian that way, right? But they didn't have a plan. They've been winging it, and then went, oh no, wait a minute, we already did that. If they had had a plan, like, okay, we're going to have this show, this show, this show, this show, this show's going to be about this show's going to be about this show's going to be about this movie's going to be about this, they would have been able to do an Obi-Wan protecting Luke, but then they thought they couldn't because they already had done the Mando. So they, literally, people, like, they have had absolutely no plan this entire time. It's absolutely terrible. These people are so worthless. McGregor responded telling IGN, it's just slid to next year. That's all. The scripts were really good. I think now that episode 9 came out and everyone at Lucasfilm's got more time to spend on the writing, they felt like they wanted more time to spend on the writing. I felt like more time to spend on the writing. They have more time to spend on the writing. It's just awful. He added, I've read about 80-90% of what they've written so far, and it's really, really good. Instead of shooting this August, they just want to start shooting in January. That's all. Nothing more dramatic than that. It often happens in projects. They just wanted to push it to next year. Well, no, they changed the script, so it got pushed. He's covering for them fine. McGregor did note that the unnoticed release date remains unchanged. I still have the same release date. I don't think it will affect the release date, blah, 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 who cares. As viewers of the series would eventually find out, the scripts were crap, and the entire series was mediocre at best. Exactly. Even Leia actress Vivian Lyra Blair questioned the poor scripts during an Obi-Wan panel at Celebration in 2023. She said, yeah, I remember the scene where I was in the coat, and I was inside the Imperial officer's coat, and I kept poking my head out and looking around at the set and he kept trying to push me back in. It was really funny. I just kept saying, how is anyone believing this is a random lump inside this guy's coat is just normal? How is this happening? Yeah, so they're at the fortress where there's like Imperials everywhere. This Fortress Inquisitorius, which, by the way, I just think that whole idea is so lame. It's like you're making it so obvious. You got Inquisitors dressed up like fake Vaders. You got a fortress. Like, wouldn't Palpatine be like smarter than that and have more like Bode type Inquisitors from Jedi Survivor, where like they look like they're Jedi and they seem like good people, and then in the end they double cross Jedi instead of having these dudes in suits running around. That was the dumbest idea, and it was so dumb. Palpatine would never do something that stupid. Rebels is such a garbage show. It's garbage. Filoni, like, and even this little kid knows. Like, she knows how stupid it looked. Like, as if all these Imperials on this fortress with all these guys everywhere wouldn't notice this idiot walking around with some blob in his coat. It looked so bad. What do you make of Chow's comments that Lucasfilm had already developed the entire Princess Leia storyline? She's lying. She's lying, obviously. They hadn't. It got changed. I'm not saying she's the one that changed it. I'm not saying she's the reason that they went with the Leia thing and the stupid Inquisitorious and nonsense instead of just having it about Obi-Wan and Luke. I'm not saying it was her, but it was definitely changed. So either she's covering for Kathleen Kennedy or she is responsible for the change and Kathleen Kennedy approved it. Either way, it still falls on KK, but they did. They changed it. They set back shooting for months on end, sent everybody home because somebody at the top, I'm guessing it's Kathleen Kennedy, didn't like that story and wanted Reva and wanted young Leia and wanted powerful females, like that's her whole thing. She's obsessed with it. Like, so in the end, it turned out to be a crappy show and it was discombobulated and weird and messy. And I have, reviews, like I said, of each episode, and you break it down, it's terrible. And even this little kid understands that. Anyways, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. And again, feel free to check out any of those videos, any of my other Star Wars content. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and have a good day.